Liz, hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. And you?
Great, lovely to see you. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much for your time today to have an interview for International Women's Day. So it's fantastic. So we're just going to have a quick introduction, and then we've got some lovely questions to ask you, if that's okay. So Liz is a director of Belina Group. Belina Group specialises in supporting women with complex barriers to employment, and with a unique approach motivates them to get ready for work through cost-effective, community-based voluntary programs. Belina Consulting has 9 years experience running group sessions, employability programs across London and the West Midlands, and has supported over 2,000 people and trained more than 250 staff from over 50 organisations, with the help of a dozen highly motivated staff from within her team. Liz has over 20 years experience in employability programs. Her company Belina provides tailored support to women to develop their confidence, motivation and employability skills. Her GROW program, which has been highly commended at the National Employment Awards in 2019 and 2014, is currently being delivered on the Troubled Families and Building Better Opportunities programs. Liz is on the Employability Services Association board. She's a former chief executive of the lone parent charity Gingerbread, where she worked closely with the government on the New Deal for lone parents, and was a national vice president of the NUS and ran their women's campaign in the 80s. On top of that, Liz was chair of the trustees and welfare rights charity LASA for a decade. She was made fellow of the IEP in 2016. Her programs have twice been highly recommended by URSA for innovation, and has recently now become a board member of URSA as well. So congratulations. So wow, what a career so far, Liz. It's absolutely amazing. How do you feel about all that?
You know what? It's so funny because I feel the best is yet to come. I'm so motivated by the projects that we're working on at the moment. We've got some lovely projects. We're very grateful to have been funded to support women across London get back to work. And I've got this team of 14 women now, actually. We're growing all the time. And what we're there to do is we go out into the community. And even during lockdown, we've got our contacts. We've been bringing even more women in to get that
Yeah.
confidence to go back to work. And that's what we're really about. All our projects are voluntary, and they're all about finding out where people are, finding out what they want to do, and helping them make that roadmap. And
Yeah,
because the
brilliant.
project is women, and most of the women have been through the program themselves. It's about empathy and skill. The skill is about understanding what people need, but the empathy is about knowing where they've been. And that's what I think our project brings together.
They're brilliant, absolutely, and you can see it, through your website and your app that you just recently launched as well. So Belina Grow is certainly on the up, so that's great. So Liz, tell me, what is your current role and situation now as it stands? Where are we going from here?
So the great thing when you work for a small organisation is that you get to do everything, and I think that's what I love about what I do. So I do everything from advise people. I'm an advisor. I have a client list of my own where I work with people. But what I feel now that the other thing that I do is that I'm trying to bring other people on. I'm always trying to think, how can we use you? How can we use you? How can we get you involved? So, for
Great.
example, there's a wonderful woman on our program at the moment who has two autistic children, and we've set her up so that she's now running a support group for other mums with autistic children, and she's got the motivation and the drive. And you can just see that if you can just find people in the thing that they want to do, that's what gives them confidence and motivation. And she's going to go from strength to strength. She'll probably be running the country in a few years' time. So I try to do now is try and look what people can do and see how we can all work together.
Brilliant. Oh, that's amazing. It's great to hear. So to say you're tuning into those different parts of what you can develop. So that's brilliant. I mean, obviously we've touched on your background about your history and what you've done, but what's led you down this path to get where you are now. Where did it all begin?
I think the really funny thing is that what tends to happen to me is I go into a room or a meeting and I think, for goodness me, surely we could do better. How could we make this better? And I've ended up in so many situations. I mean, I started off in these things being involved in student politics, and it was exactly that. Something happened, and I was the women's officer at Coventry Polytechnic, as it was then. Something happened, and I just thought, that's just so unfair. We need to do something about that. And I went to the student union, and they said, oh no, why don't you do something about it? You stand for election. So I stood for that. Then I got involved in national student politics, and then I ran the charity, and it's mainly been about practicalities. How can you make something just that bit better? How can you organize things? How can you just get in there? And I'm not the world's greatest policy person. I'm really not. Policy, like kind of that long term, I'm always stunned by those people who have the figures and the stat, and we could make that a bit better and we could make that a bit better. And I kind of feel like by making lots of things a bit better, we're moving things forward. So leave that to those people who can do that. This is what I'm good at: organizing, community organizing, that kind of stuff. I love it.
That's brilliant, definitely, and you can tell the energy is really there, really present. That's brilliant. So talk about challenges. The theme of this year's Inspirational Women's Day is choose to challenge. So I'm interested to know, Liz, what challenges you? How do you deal with any challenges?
So I love the choose to challenge. We've taken that on board in our organisation as well.
Right.
I suppose what I'm always concerned about is, and why I've been involved in kind of everything I've done, is that I think women's economic independence is a great driver of progress. Because if you've got a woman and she's educated and she can earn her own money, she's in a so much better situation. And so what I'm always trying to do is to give people choices. And I think that's the challenge, is that people have choices. And it's in my own organisation, this is completely sort of backward. So I thought that we did one thing and then we kind of thought how we could implement that in a different way. Is that my company is called Belina, and of course, like any mum, I've named it after my children, Isabel and Nina, Belina.
Wow. Okay.
But kind of as I've thought about it, what I always want us to do is always to think, I would want people who work in our project to give advice that they would want somebody to give to their own kids. Yeah. So it's about what would be the best advice. And sometimes that's to get on and do something straight away. But sometimes it might be you need to train. Sometimes it might be actually you need to improve your English because you've got so much to offer, but at the moment you're not able to express yourself in the way you need to. For other people, it's about saying, actually, why don't you join us and work with it? But it's about giving people sort of choices and challenges to themselves. And we've been talking about that today in our group. You can't just support people, you have to challenge them to improve. So that's kind of how we're working.
Yeah, brilliant. Because I think, when you challenge someone, you put the emphasis back on them a bit to, better themselves. You can teach and coach, but, if you put the challenge back in their court as well, you're working along to the same goal, aren't you? So that's great. So obviously challenges are everywhere at the moment. And obviously the biggest challenge we've had recently is obviously with the COVID. So what are some of the key lessons that you've taken from the COVID-19 crisis and the lockdown?
So I think it's really funny that it's going to be International Women's Day and the day the kids go back to school. I think all the mums.
Yeah.
So I think there's I think COVID has been an incredible challenge to everybody. But I think the other side of that has been that people have just stepped up. So my team all have children, and we had a discussion right at the beginning. What should we do? And we said, we're just going to work through lockdown because people need us even more, because they need to be connected. And so we've kind of found that with the mums, that the really amazing thing has been how everybody can now go online, go on Zoom, use their IT is so much better. And so there've been some things that would probably have taken another 15 years if it had been for COVID to move them forward. So I think people, they do step up when there's a challenge, and that I say we've got some things out of it. So of course, terrible as it's been, for the people who have been locked in, they have also been doing stuff. Yeah, so it's, you know, if people have been inside their house, people have been getting on with doing things. So I kind of feel we need to take that. And I think the other lesson I would say out of COVID is that there is a lot of support you can give people in their homes, and that people can work from homes. And we need to look at the mums, people with disabilities, carers who could maybe really work from home and do all the stuff that we're now doing at the moment as we're locked in, and just get on with it. So I think there's a lot of opportunities that people need to kind of take the best of what happened during lockdown out of it.
Definitely. I mean, it's great to, I mean, COVID hasn't been the greatest thing, but it's lovely to hear a positive spin out of COVID, and exactly those steps that you've mentioned about, you know, how we've all stepped up to the plate and we've managed to actually better ourselves and better the way we work. You know, there's a lot more connection, isn't there, going through this, and hopefully we'll soon, you know, not back to normal as such, but I think, you know, it will certainly help our way of working going forward. So yeah, it's certainly been thrust upon us a bit sooner. Well done. So I mean, Liz, you are such an inspiration, and you have achieved so much, and it's wonderful to see, and so you're perfect for International Women's Day. I'd just like to ask, you know, what are your top tips for work and for life in general?
So do stuff. And I can't tell you what is the right stuff for you, because if I could, I'd be your, you know, people's fairy godmother, but I can't do that. But what I do know is the more stuff you do, the more networks you make, the more connections you have, the more likely you are to bump into the thing that you want to do. So we're always trying to say, you might not, you don't know what's going to be. You know, it's like that thing in advertising. If people knew which half of the advertising budget was the right one to spend, they'd do that. Yeah. So I just say, get out, do stuff. You know, so this is next organisation I was going to be called Roll Up Your Sleeves, because I just feel that's, if you just do that, get going, that's the best thing you can do.
Brilliant. Oh, what a great answer. That is great. Thank you very much, Liz. Listen, thank you very much for your time. And I hope you and your team have a wonderful International Women's Day. And obviously we wish you all yes, choose the challenge. But obviously from 3SE, we wish you all the very best for Belina Group, all the contracts you're currently working on, and future contracts I'm sure you will secure. So so thank you very much. Lovely speaking to you.
Thank you, and thanks for all the support we get from working with you. We really do appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.